11th race of the season for the Cannons Motor Spares Tin Top Challenge, and first outing of the year here in Kent at Lydden Hill. Most of the championship based at Brands Hatch. 2 away days we've had already, but let's take a look at the grid. Terry Sells on pole position with Gary Chappell alongside. Then it's Jason Watkins and Chris Whiteman on row 2. Danny Cassar and Andy Baker on the 3rd row of the grid. Row 4 sees Neil Gardiner, then Luke Bennett, Ian Butler and Curtis Mitchell on row 5. Row 6, Andrew Mitchell with Steve Cassar. 7th row of the grid sees Scott Brooker and Andy Woods-Dean. Then it's Brett Lindsay and Steve Rothery. Ricky Davies 17th with Anthony Harrison 18th. 19th is Bernie Baxter, next to him Dominic Ryan. Then we've got David Charlton, John Wild and Robert Sadler rounding off the grid. It's a big field, as you can see, split into 5 classes. A couple of the classes just with 1 entrant, but we don't mind that because they'll find somewhere and someone to race against. But there on pole is the MG XR190 of Terry Sells. On his outside, Gary Chappell in the Toyota Celica. Row 2, Jason Watkins in the Fiesta XR2, who takes the Class 4 pole. And we're getting ready to race, and it's a very, very crowded, busy start here at Lydden. Look at the VW Beetle at the back, reminiscent of John Button, Jensen's dad, racing in the Beetle in rallycross days in the 70s. What a fab sight. Great that the Beetle has got a home to race in, and he's had 2 other competitors throughout the course of the year. But it's a great start by Terry Sells, and also from Chris Whiteman, who looks down the inside to go through into the lead. So Chris Whiteman challenging for the lead. We're looking at the Fiesta of Jason Watkins, who's dropped back just a little bit from 3rd position on the grid, down to about 6th place at the moment. But cracking stuff from Terry Sells, who leads. Wide moment there for Ian Butler, 2nd overall in the championship. He's running in Class 1. Hasn't had any competition in Class 1 all year, but he's had a perfect set of finishes, which helps his point score no end. But look at this coming through. Andy Baker in the Peugeot 205 GTI streaks through on the inside. Well, Baker qualified down in 6th position. He's gone from 6th to 1st in a lap and a bit. Incredible stuff from the driver of the Class 4 Peugeot. Brilliant manoeuvre from him, and a great first lap as the field streaks through. Now we've got a battle on for 2nd position, and Chris Whiteman coming up the inside looking for 2nd. Luke Bennett's there in 3rd place as we go back. Terry Sells having a little bit of a wide moment there, and I think he's going to lose out here to Luke Bennett, who looks around the outside. No, Sells in fact gets the better of Chris Whiteman, hangs on to 2nd but goes wide at North Bend, and Whiteman pops the 55 car down the inside, down Hairy Hill into 2nd position. Sells down into 3rd. 4th position now is Luke Bennett. Bennett in the Honda Integra SI, so we've got Honda at the moment 2nd and 4th, and I think that might be about to change as Andy Baker continues to lead away through Pilgrims and then down into Chessons, onto Dover Slope, and then down into Devil's Elbow. Behind them we've got the XR2 of Jason Watkins. Now Jason 11th overall in the championship and 2nd in the championship standings in Class 4, and that's generally the smaller engine cars. Goes up to Class 4, going up to from 1600 to 2 litres dual valve, 1300 to 1600 cc multi-valve engines, and then we go up in the classes to Class 1 as we look at Jason trying to put a move on Class 1, multi-valve over 3 litres, dual valve over 4 litres, and anything over 2.1 litres forced induction. I mentioned 5 classes. There's actually a Class 5 and the air-cooled Beetle class as well. So technically 6 classes available in the championship, but 5 represented at Lydden Circuit this weekend as we watch the 73 car of Terry Sells going down into Devil's Elbow. Andy Baker is away, Chris Whiteman in 2nd position, Luke Bennett in 3rd. Then it's Terry Sells. Then Gary Chappell coming under a bit of pressure here from Jason Watkins, who looks around the outside in the 43 car. Championship leader is Danny Cassar, running in Class 3. Danny in the MG ZR, and qualified in 5th position, but he hasn't managed to emerge in the top 5 in this one. He leads the championship by 20 points from Ian Butler in the Ford Focus RS, and then Andy Woods-Dean is 3rd in the championship, 2nd in Class 3. And I think we could probably catch a glimpse of there he is, the gold liveried Renault Megane Coupe, who is starting to make a little bit of progress up the order and dicing with the white Ford Focus RS of Ian Butler, with gold-blue car, just looking up the inside as they come out of Devil's Elbow. So Terry Searles still heading Gary Chappell. Chappell started, of course, second on the grid, so things really getting a little bit topsy-turvy in terms of the positions from qualifying, which I guess is exactly what we like to see, get the order mixed up a little bit, but no problems at all at the moment for Andy Baker in the Peugeot 205 GTI, getting away with this one as we continue to look at the battle between Terry Searles and Gary Chappell. Searles has got the legs at the moment. These are the two cars that share the front row of the grid. Here's a change of position going on. It is Ian Butler has been passed by Andy Woods-Dean, so good progress from Woods-Dean, but now the Fiesta XR2 of Jason Watkins getting involved with Chappell and Searles up ahead of him. 25 car in the mix there, the black Peugeot 205, Curtis Mitchell second in the T4 class standings. John Wilde is the leader in the championship. He's the racing the Rover Metro. There he is, as if on cue, the 51 car, dicing with 27, Dominic Ryan in the Ford Fiesta, and David Charlton in the VW Beetle that we saw on lap 1. And as you can see, it doesn't matter what you drive, there's someone to dice against in this championship, which is absolutely superb. Now, what's happened to Gary Chappell? He's dropped back down the order a little bit, and Jason Watkins has shaken him off. And coming out of the slipstream now is Andy Woods-Dean, looks to the outside line very confidently through and past Chappell, who seems to be having a little bit of a struggle, doesn't he? Certainly up the hill, no problems around North Bend. And what about downhill? Loses a little bit of ground, probably about half. And look at that, down the inside goes the XR2, fantastic challenge by Jason Watkins, down on the inside of Terry Searles, past the pole position man. Brilliant stuff from Watkins, up now into, I think that's third position, isn't it? Because we've got Andy Baker, fourth position. Andy Baker leading Chris Whiteman, Luke Bennett in third place, and Jason Watkins now up into fourth position. So cracking drive from the Class 4 drivers. We've got Class 4 first and fourth at the moment. Searles about to be passed by Woods-Dean down on the inside into the Devil's Elbow, and he's going to have a run here. Now, if the car on the outside maintains his pace, Searles that is, he'll be on the inside for the next corner, but he can't do that. And Andy Woods-Dean makes the most of the racing lines around here and gets up into fifth position. So Woods-Dean on a little bit of a mission, started way down the grid in 14th place in the Renault Megane Coupe. 55.556 seconds his qualifying lap, some 3 seconds away from Terry Searles, who set the pole position time. But we're going back to look at the race leaders. Andy Baker coming under a bit of pressure from Chris Whiteman. Whiteman in the Honda Civic Type R. Whiteman certainly putting him under a great deal of pressure at the moment. Baker getting through the field very quickly on that first lap and pulled away, but now, hello, yellow flag's out. That means we've got somebody off circuit. Let's have a look round and see if we can spot who it is that's gone off. Can't see anybody at the moment, but the lap sheet's telling me it might be Neil Gardiner in the Rover Metro. There it is on the outside of the circuit. Neil Gardiner out of the race. Disappointment for Neil, who is out of this one, but the race lead still carries on. I think the leaders probably before the end of the race are going to get into backmarker territory. 15 laps of Lydden Hill, 15 miles, is exactly a mile the circuit. As we look at the top two drivers, Class 4 car of Andy Baker and the Class 3 machine of Chris Whiteman, it's Class 3 in third place, Luke Bennett. A little bit of a way back at the moment is Luke, and then Jason Watkins still in fourth place. Class leader and only class representative in T1 is Ian Butler. In Class 2, Scott Brooker in the Mini Cooper S leading that class, and the lone runner in the Beetles is David Charlton. He has been he's running fourth overall in the championship, David Charlton, and he's been had competition from Stephen McGilvray and Nick Whitty over the course of the season. But no other Beetles here this weekend, which is a great pity as we continue to watch Andy Baker, who's really doing a sterling job at the moment out front. Andy's best lap time 47.996 set on the second lap. You tend to find here at Lydden that the best laps get set earlier on in the session. Chris Whiteman a 47.7, so Whiteman seems to be that little bit quicker as the cars start to close in on the back marker traffic. You can see Robert Sadler in the distance is going to be the first of those, the white Peugeot 205 GTI. So the guys very much into the last third of the race, the beginning of the last third of the race, coming into back marker territory. This is Robert Sadler just ahead, dicing with Dominic Ryan in the silver Fiesta, and also David Charlton in the Beetle. So the leaders coming up and through those, and through on the inside, very neatly done. Andy Baker through past the Peugeot, keeps to the outside line, so good driving, doesn't interfere with the lead battle. David Charlton does pretty much the same thing, and the next target's going to be Dominic Ryan in the silver Fiesta, who gets past as well. And there's John Wilde just ahead of him, the red Metro with the white stripes. John, who leads Class 4 in the championship, 5th overall in the championship. So again, if you've got a smaller engine car, you can come and compete against the big boys in the overall championship without having to worry about having their overall pace, as the race leaders go past Neil Gardiner. Once again, his stricken car, the Metro, proving a little bit more difficult to pass than some of the other cars in the first batch of back markers, but the race leaders are through, and it's Andy Baker still leading in the Peugeot 205. Oh, there's an off! Brett Lindsay in the Fiesta, car number 12, and Anthony Harrison in the Rover 220 Coupe Turbo. That's on the exit of North Bend. I can only assume they've tangled coming out of there. That looks like a heavy hit. That is not a great place for the cars to be as the race continues. So there'll be heavily waved yellows there. Blue flags going out for the Metro again. So the race leaders continue to cut their way through the back marker traffic, and it's still Andy Baker leading, Chris Whiteman in second position. But now with that incident up at North Bend, they've lost one of the key overtaking manoeuvres. Although having said that, Andy Baker has got a back marker between himself and Chris Whiteman at the moment. No, that's dealt with now. So Whiteman now has the race lead. Oh, and red flag means race stoppage because of that incident, and the result is going to be declared as at 11 laps, so a slightly shortened race in the interest very much of safety. And the race win on lap 11, the race leader on lap 11, was Andy Baker, who wins the overall race and Class 4. Chris Whiteman second from Luke Bennett, then Andy Woods-Dean in fourth place ahead of Jason Watkins, then Terry Searles from pole into sixth place at the flag. Seventh was championship leader Danny Cassar from Gary Chappell. T1 class winner Ian Butler is next from Curtis Mitchell, Steve Cassar and Andrew Mitchell in 12th position. 13th was Scott Brooker, who wins Class 2. Then Bernie Baxter from Ricky Davis, John Wilde, Dominic Ryan, Beetle winner David Charlton. The last runner in 19th position was Robert Sadler in the Peugeot 205.